don't know how to describe how I'm feeling right now, because the answer is nothing. There is something so personal to me about a coming home narrative. I don't know why this book has hit me so hard, but I was crying at 20 past midnight last night as I finished the book. This has completely ruined me. I don't know why it didn't take Nehemiah's death, why it didn't take all the stuff that Celaena or Aelin has been through in her life. I don't know why. All it took was Celaena, Aelin, and the gang. The gang, Lysandra as a cat. It was the last line of the book. It was the Aelin is finally home line that tipped me over the edge. Whew. So this is happening right now. This is happening. Yes. Queen of Shadows review. Let's get started. So, a brief spoiler warning. In between me trying not to cry, I will actually be attempting to talk about what happened in this book, and I will be going into some detail. So please, if you haven't read this book, please don't go any further. I really don't want you to be spoiled for this book. I really want you to be this upset. I want you to reach my level of sadness, because I'm feeling like I'm the only one that's been obliterated to this level from this book. So I need someone else to understand that as well, even though I'm reading these books like 3 years after they actually first came out. But boy, am I still broken. So a few general thoughts to begin with. I think Queen of Shadows, well, I don't know if you could tell by the emotions on my face, Queen of Shadows is my favourite Throne of Glass book so far. I'm convinced that it will be my favourite Throne of Glass book in this series. I know I've got 3 more books to read, but I have not been this affected by a book in a long time, and you are talking to someone that has recently just read The Infernal Devices. Well done, Sarah, you have successfully broken me. Honestly, I got through this book so quickly. I really felt like the different point of views gelled a lot more this time around instead of when they were in Heir of Fire. I feel like we cared a lot more about what happened to Manon because we had already had a whole story with her before, and honestly when all the point of views came together in that battle scene, I screamed. It was just so good. So one of the first things that I noticed when I first started to read Queen of Shadows is that Sarah had started to refer to Celaena as Aelin. Yes, this was just a tiny shift in narration, but it made such a difference because you got that full completion of Aelin rejecting her old Celaena identity. So this book wastes no time, and suddenly we are back in the vaults. If you've just come from my Assassin's Blade review, or if you watched my review a couple of weeks back, you will know that I decided to read the Assassin's Blade after Heir of Fire and before Queen of Shadows, and my god, I am so happy that I did that. I felt like everything was a lot fresher in my mind. Places like Rifthold, the vaults, even how much of a dick Arobynn is, I literally had that like at the forefront of my mind going into this book, so I am so happy that I read the Assassin's Blade when I did. However, this does mean that when Arobynn hauled his ass back into Queen of Shadows, I just lost the plot. This guy really got what he deserved. When it's revealed that Aelin now has auburn hair, I literally had to stop, flick back a few pages and understand that yes, it was Aelin we were talking about, because I was like, interesting, who is this new character that suddenly got this first person narrative? Obviously she dyed her hair, and later on in the story we find out why, and it is just such a genius move. And then we have the return of Chaol. Literally about 11 pages in, Chaol Westfall appears, and I absolutely lost it. I knew they would reunite in this book, but I thought we would at least have 200 or so pages. But there he is, 11 pages in, and I could not cope. Obviously, Chaol and Aelin's reunion is as painful as I thought it would be. Honestly, this was not a good scene for either of them. They both acted like dicks here. I don't know why, but I was half expecting this to be like an angry to passionate scene, but it was just pure hate, and it was really difficult to read this part of the book. Then we have the return of Lysandra, and like I said, I'm so happy that I read the Assassin's Blade just before this book. I knew who Lysandra was, or I thought I did. Turns out she's an absolute badass boss queen, and I just love her so much, as you will find out in this video. Then you get the beginning of the most horrendous slow burn and relationship angst I have ever read in any YA novel. It made me so crazy. But Aelin is in her bed and she reaches over for Rowan, but Rowan isn't there, and at this point Rowan hasn't come back yet, and I'm just thinking, oh no, she has fallen so deep deep for him, and I just don't think he's going to come back into this book. Obviously, about 50 pages later he does, and I'm happily relieved, but at this point I was heartbroken for Aelin. I absolutely adored the whole getting Aedion out of the castle escape scene. I thought it was written so beautifully, executed so perfectly as well by the characters. Favourite moments here: when Aelin sneaks in with the dance troupe, Aelin pretending to be clumsy and spilling the water so she manages to wash away those word marks by the door. Aedion having to squeeze into that tiny carriage because he is so beefy gave me the biggest grin on my face, and I kind of want him and Lysandra to get together in the next few books. Honestly, just Lysandra in general getting involved, I just absolutely adored it. I feel like she was just born to be in a team with Aelin. As you will see throughout the duration of this video, I really don't have anything bad to say about Queen of Shadows. However, the one thing that I did pick up on is that my friend said to me that Sarah started to use some like colloquial language, and I won't lie, I did pick up on a few instances of this in Queen of Shadows. Manon describes the Croachan witch that she killed as a preachy twat, and then later Aelin saying that Rowan wasn't pissy. That didn't sit quite right with me, but honestly this was the only qualm that I have of this book. When Aelin then fights one of the Valg soldiers in the vaults but uses the identity of Ansel of Briarcliff, I'm literally just sat here waiting for the real Ansel to come back. Then you have that really nice scene with Aelin and Aedion when they have got Aedion out of the castle and he's waiting to get better, and then him and Aelin compare their scars and they start talking about how they got them, and they have like a, I have this scar from this, I have this scar from this contest. Aelin confesses to Aedion that she did actually kill Baba Yellowlegs, saying that she shoved her head and her body into the oven of her wagon. Now, if you remember in my Crown of Midnight video, I did speak briefly about how Sarah has used a character from Slavic folklore in her character of Baba Yellowlegs. I do want to quickly add here that she has done this again in Queen of Shadows, because one of the characteristics of Baba Yaga, who is this Slavic folklore character, is that she cooks people in her oven. That's like a thing that she does. And so I did notice this reference here. I don't know if you guys did as well, but there you go. You can have that Slavic folklore reference for free. I won't charge. Aelin finding out that Rowan is in fact like the greatest male Fae warrior in history, and she's like, I thought he was just a pain in my ass. And Aedion is there like fangirling over Rowan. Like, are you kidding me? This is the greatest warrior, and you're walking around saying, oh, I thought he was okay, but I thought he was just a bit annoying. That honestly had me howling. And then Rowan comes back and I'm sat there with the biggest grin on my face. I know it looks like I'm about to cry now, but I promise I wasn't. I was so happy at this point. Aedion smells his scent of snow and pine before they find him in the alley, but he also smells the scent of Aelin on him as well. I thought that was quite nice, and it's one of those times when the reader knows more than the characters, because you know that Aelin and Rowan have fallen for each other, but they either don't know it yet or they're not caring to admit it. Aelin literally flings herself at Rowan and he picks her up off the floor. She then washes his hair and lets him use her lavender soap. Obviously this is an allusion to the Assassin's Blade when she got really angry at Sam for using this particular soap, and I thought this was just like a nice moment of her like maturing and realising that she needs to keep those she loves as close as she possibly can. Everything's so cute, everything's so PG, and then she puts on the sluttiest night dress just to tease him, and he's like, I'd like to see you in the gold one. What? This literally went from like a PG to like a 15 in 2 sentences. There is one line that I did pick up on here, and it is when Sarah describes how Rowan looks at Aelin and it's like he saw a new face, and Aelin also looks at Rowan and it is like she saw a new face in him as well. That's because when they look at each other, they're not seeing the face of a friend, they are now seeing the face of the one they love. And then you find out that Aedion's father is in fact Gavriel. When he says, the lion is my father, I literally, this was like the best line of this chapter, hands down. Aelin showing Rowan around Rifthold, I don't care what anyone says, that was the cutest shit ever. I feel like it was honestly the smallest things in this book that got me the most choked up. Then it's revealed that Lysandra is a shapeshifter. Yes, another mythical being that I did not know I needed in my life until now. Aelin then going to Sam's grave before she plans to kill Arabin. I do want to slightly retract what I said in my Assassin's Blade video when I said that I didn't think Selena loved Sam as much as Sam loved Selena. Obviously I can see that she in fact did love him more than I thought she did, or maybe that love has grown over time after his death, I don't know, but I was pretty quick to shut down their love. And I do apologise for any Sam and Selena shippers out there. I honestly did not think she was that arsed. But obviously at this point in Queen of Shadows, I could tell that I was in fact wrong. So I retract that statement. I do apologise. And then we get the whole killing Arobynn scene. Aelin looking absolutely fire in that black dress with the dragon train. I would like every single one of you to send me as much fan art of this scene that you can. My Instagram is in the description below. Just please spam me with images of Aelin in this dress. I need it in my life. And then Rowan is just there checking her out and Adrian is just in the corner third wheeling. I felt so bad for Adrian in these scenes. Rowan and Aelin are literally just having like eye sex all the time and Adrian's just there like, hey guys, hey guys, I'm here. Honestly, so good. I really like the dynamic of what I am now calling the Fae squad of Aelin, Rowan and Adrian in this scene when they all walk into the keep together and Aelin is like, none of your territorial bullshit please. She has those boys handled, but honestly they would protect her to their death as well. Aelin and Rowan flirting over dinner, just using the power of their Karanam and their bond in their minds had me howling. When she says she isn't wearing any underwear and he bangs his knee against the table, iconic. I feel like Aelin is a lot more confident in herself in this book because 1, she's feeling herself again and she has reclaimed her identity of Aelin. 2, she has finally healed of what happened in the castle over the winter months. 3, she's back on home turf and she owns it. I feel like she's so much more comfortable in Rifthold. And 4, she knows Rowan is just as keen as she is. I really liked that it was in fact Lysandra who killed Arobynn. I feel like honestly in the end it was her kill. She had been through so many struggles, and when she mentioned to Aelin that none of Arobynn's blows over dinner did in fact get to Aelin because Arobynn saw just how invested she was in Rowan, and with Rowan beside Aelin nothing could harm her. I feel like the kill of Arobynn wouldn't have been as satisfactory for Aelin as it would have been before Rowan. Therefore I'm really glad that Lysandra was the one to do it. I do wish she could have done it in her ghost leopard form though. Can you imagine how badass that would have been? And then you get Rowan and Aelin like semi getting together but also not getting together, like they don't kiss but he just says that he wants to make her moan, and I'm just like, okay, you have skipped 5 steps but I'm so okay with that. You guys just carry on. My favourite bit here is that chapter ends and then the next page is like a tiny minuscule Dorian hating himself because there's a demon inside him chapter. I said this in my Crown of Midnight analysis when Dorian is just like having a complete identity crisis and a breakdown because he has his magic, he doesn't know what to do with it, and at the same time Chaol and Selena are just like shagging their way around the castle. Honestly, it's the same energy in this scene. I feel like the rest of the book is then split into rescuing Lysandra and then blowing up the glass castle. So in terms of rescuing Lysandra, the gang obviously have to stop in an inn on the way, and then you get that scene in the bedroom when Rowan goes to kiss Aelin and she hesitates because she's been so hurt in the past, and he says, let me prove you wrong. You can choose how, with words or with teeth and tongue. We need to move on. We're moving on. The gang peeping into the clearing and seeing the 13's wyverns. And Abraxas is there, sprawled on his belly, face buried in a mound of wildflowers. He is so goddamn cute. He is my favourite wyvern. Manon and Dorian, way up. Hello, Princeling. Hello, Witchling. Loved it. Okay, so the whole battle scene with Manon and Aelin was just insane. Like, it was so well written. I was having a ball. When the bridge breaks and they have to both leap over the ravine, it was like reading it in slow motion. I could just picture them like, no, boom. I just loved it, like 10 out of 10. And then you have Aelin saying they tried to kill my Rowan. And I'm like, Aelin, we know you were gonna say mate, just say it because we know what's happening. We can see it going down. So I assumed that they mated when Rowan jumped in front of Aelin to save her life, because it was the whole thing that he said in Heir of Fire, like when you would rather die than see your mate being hurt. I have been told that I will find out about this whole thing, who mates with who, when it happened, if it happened, the rules of mating in the Fae universe, in Empire of Storms. But for right now, I think this scene is significant. Then we go back to Rifthold, and I would just briefly like to say here that I did think the book was going to wind down at this point. I looked and I saw I had about 100 pages left, and I was like, surely that's just all like wrapping up things and that's just like an outro to the book. How wrong I was. I feel like there is a nice Chaol and Aelin closure scene. She confesses that perhaps she shouldn't have said I will always pick you when he sent her off to Wendlin at the end of Crown of Midnight, and fair enough, she probably shouldn't have. But honestly, throughout Heir of Fire, when Rowan was still being a jerk, I was like, Aelin, Dorian, you said you'd go back for Chaol. You did promise this. So maybe keep that promise. They do both admit that things have changed and they kind of give each other their blessing for them to move on to different people. So the night before, the gang puts their plan in action and Aelin puts on that gold metallic night dress. Are you kidding me? Why is this the slowest burn I have ever read? There better be lots of smut in Empire of Storms or I am suing. You find out that Manon has actually left a message for Aelin saying that Dorian still is inside his body. Yes, queens stick together. Then she goes to the castle and the king's like, I know that you're Aelin, and Celaena's like, oh, what? Really? And I'm like, girl, come on. Did you really not expect him to know? Like, literally, my mum knows who you are at this point and she's never even heard of these books. Meanwhile, shit is absolutely going down in the catacombs. Lorcan giving the word hounds, Rowan sent. What a dickhead. Magic is back. And I just loved how it just like came back in like a ripple, like in a wind. It wasn't like a big like, boom, magic is back. It was like, magic is back, and everyone was like, magic is back. I don't know why, but I didn't realise just how much of an effect this would have on the plot, because suddenly we go back to the castle and Aelin's like, I got my magic back, boom, and then she throws the fire at Dorian, and I'm just sat there thinking, this is the fucking Frozen movie, is it not? Lysandra as a ghost leopard helping the boys in the catacombs. Yes, 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 so good. And then Nesryn helps clear the way to the castle by firing like the cleanest shot straight through the castle guards. Yeah! I was living for every second of this scene. The collar is off Dorian. Dorian and Aelin link hands. I got some big true Nephilim vibes from Queen of Air and Darkness here. The king reveals the truth, including that Perrington is actually Erwan. And I was like, I knew it. He was one shady fucker of a man. Bam! Castle down. Aelin makes a sick speech. Then she passes out. Yikes. So after the scene where the castle just blows up, I was like, that's it. That's got to be the only action in this book. Nope. How wrong I was. Sarah J. Maas had one more action-packed scene up her sleeve. We go back to the witches and Coltaine decides that she's just gonna burn the whole of Marath, including herself, up. Back to the castle and you get Rowan's narration of what happened when Aelin passed out over the course of the 3 days, including when Lorcan appeared, undoubtedly to try and cause shit. And then Lysandra comes and just vomits on him. I love Lysandra so much. And then you get Rowan just sat by Aelin's bed thinking about all the dumb stuff she's done, and he's like, remember when she did this? That was dumb. And he goes to glare at her and she is just there glaring at him back. Oh, it's just so cute. Dorian makes Nesryn the new captain of the guard, and I know that I haven't spoke that much about Nesryn in this video, but I do actually like her as a character on her own. I do quite like the dynamic that she's got with Chaol, but I do think like as a standalone character she is quite a good character as well. When Aelin attempts to go back down the secret passageway one last time and she comes back up to her rooms and finds Dorian and Chaol sat there, I just got like hit with this biggest nostalgia for books 1 and 2. I honestly feel like there was a castle gang which was Celaena, Chaol and Dorian, and like a Fae squad which is Aelin, Rowan and Adian. Obviously I love the Fae squad to pieces, especially when Lysandra is added to the mix. However, seeing Dorian and Chaol in Aelin's chambers, I was just like punched with this like yearning to go back to like simpler times when it was just all balls and parties and Chaol and Celaena having sex in a broom cupboard, you know, simpler times when the world didn't need saving. The final few pages absolutely tore me apart. The goodbyes felt so final, and them mounting their horses and walking through Rifthold for one last time, it just really got me. The gang travelling to Terrazan and Lysandra using the time to test out her powers on all these different animals that she's shape-shifting into. That was iconic. I'm so excited to read more about Lysandra in the next few books. And then they finally reach Terrazan and I won't cry again, I promise. Aelin is suddenly hit with the realisation that her home smells like Rowan and she didn't even realise it at the time. Terrazan just feels like a magical, cold, mountainous place where there's like sunshine, but it's that like winter sun that just hits you differently. That is how I picture Terrazan. Like it's just this beautiful mountainous place, and can someone paint me this, please? I will pay you handsomely if you can paint me Terrazan for my wall, please. Honestly, I got so choked up reading these last pages. I will unhappily admit that some of the only things I have cried at is the film Coco and apparently Queen of Shadows, page 645. Okay, as you can tell, I positively adored this book. It felt cathartic in a way to me because it was like that final goodbye to Rifthold, just like Aelin getting all her affairs in order, saying goodbye to everyone, and then taking those that she holds dearest with her as she goes to reclaim her crown. This series just needed a book like this, and I needed a book like this, because now I feel like there's a blank slate ready for Aelin to reclaim her throne and reclaim her kingdom. I just think this book was so needed. It was just great. I just loved it. I loved it. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give it a like if you have enjoyed watching me blubber my way through this review, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, goodbye. The one line that tipped me over the edge, I know you know what line it is, and I'm gonna say it, and then I'm gonna end this video because I'm emotionally just spent. I can't talk about this book anymore. So that line is, of course, at long last, Aelin Ashriver Galathinius was home.